If you are at that stage in your career, in your professional life, in your business, where you want to get to the next level, you're doing all the right steps, you're working really hard, you have the right intentions, but for some reason you're not seeing the results that you're after, then in this episode we'll cover two important concepts from the book Reality Transurfing which may benefit you. My name is Zurika and I live in New Zealand, and in this episode I'd like to cover a key concept, which is that our universe, the universe that we live in, the life that we are living in, it is constantly evolving. Whether you like it or not, it's constantly becoming something different. And when this transition is happening, oftentimes as human beings, we get into a point of complacency. We get to a point of, I don't want to do that. We get into the point of stagnation. We get to the point of comfort, that we don't recognize that around us, everything else is still evolving. So something that is here has moved up, and something that is here has moved a little bit beyond. You'll also notice that people around you in their own phase of life are also evolving. Now, if we do not make a conscious effort to keep on becoming something that is higher than our current self, then we will reach a point of stagnation, whether we like it or not, right? And to be able to recognize that this is what's happening in your life, the first thing to know is that we have been programmed to identify ourselves with some things. My car, my house, my mother, my father, my brother, my husband, my wife, my girlfriend, my boyfriend. These are all things that we identify as something that we are, right? What happens in this kind of a mindset is that if you lose your car, someone robs your car, a part of your identity is lost. If for some reason your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend decides to leave and go a different way, part of our identity is lost. If for some reason we see that in our job our managers are giving a promotion to someone else, and we've identified that you should be in that position, part of you is lost. If you lose your job or something happens in your business, you identify with that and something happens where you feel lost. So the way to actually shift reality to what you really want in your life is to start training yourself to detach from something that you have been trained to identify with. So to become 2.0 of yourself, you've got to recognize that you are not that person. It is a character in a movie, and you are the creator of your life. So let's just take the concept that life is a movie, and the character in the movie is someone that is going to be this 2.0, okay? That person needs to have certain attributes, certain characteristics to be in that movie. You as the director have the opportunity to say what should be the characteristics of this character. Once you know the characteristics of this character, then and only then can you train this character to act in a certain way. Imagine you are playing a video game or you are in a sci-fi movie and this character has to behave a certain way. Then because you are not that person, you now have the opportunity to tell that person what to do, how to move, how to act, how to pause at a certain point in the movie, how to run in a certain point in the movie. Do you get what I mean? So the faster we start recognizing that to become the 2.0 of ourselves, we have to detach from being that character. Rather, we are the director, and we can direct this character to behave in a certain way. Once you get that concept in your mind, then you can start working on it. So, for example, if your character in the movie has to be the director of a company, or the character in your movie needs to be an entrepreneur who's really successful and is drawing an income of 100,000 every month, what are the characteristics of that character? Because if you know the characteristics of that character, now you have the opportunity to start training that character to do certain activities every day, to start practicing certain activities so that they can act in this movie called life. It's a huge shift. And, sometimes when I try to explain this to my friends, they think I'm going crazy. But it is the truth. Because once upon a time, you might have just graduated. And the character in your movie could be that you want to get the first job. There were certain characteristics that this character had to do in the movie to get that job. Then from there, you decided to become a mom. And the character in the movie had to have certain characteristics to be a good mom. That same mom might have then wanted to become an entrepreneur. The characteristics of that character have to be completely different. And if you are attached to the outcome, what happens is that the mind and the universe starts working against you because you're so focused on that one thing that you start ignoring everything around you that's happening. And you lose focus of what areas need to be picked up. But if you are the director of the movie and you're looking at that character, which is the 2.0 of yourself, you can then say, this character, because they want to be an entrepreneur, needs to understand financial intelligence, needs to be able to understand how to recruit talented people, needs to understand how to negotiate, needs to understand how to communicate. If you are the character, you don't know what you need. But if you are the director of that movie, you know exactly what you need. Now, once you know these are some of the characteristics that my character in my movie called Life requires, then you can have the tool, which is affirmations. I know, lots of people talk about affirmations, they talk about vision boards, and it's all good. But what I've recognized is that from the book by Joseph Murphy, How to Attract Money, he clearly states that the affirmations that we do cannot be in first person because your mind does not believe those affirmations. I am generating 100,000 every month in my business. If you are not even making 2,000 in your business, your mind is not going to accept it. But if the character in the movie is making 100,000, what should that character have as characteristics to make 100,000? Now the affirmations are in third person. It's not you creating the affirmations, it's the third person, the character. The character is drawing 100,000 every month in their business. So let's take the character as Greg. Greg is making 100,000 every month in his business. Greg communicates effortlessly. Greg attracts the right clients. Greg has a lean, fit body. The mind starts believing the affirmations because it is in the third person. Just try it. Try it for like, say, 30 days. Just one affirmation, maybe. Maybe whatever you are wanting this 2.0 character to have, just one affirmation. Don't make it a gigantic goal. Just make it a small goal, and in 30 days or in 60 days, see if your mind thinks it is normal. Because it is normal. You can do anything you want. You can create any reality you want. It's all in our mind. The mind does not know what is right or wrong. The mind just knows that you want this. But if you can detach yourself from that want, it will happen faster. Think of it this way. When you really want to impress someone, and you do everything in your power to be nice to them, to praise them, to give them, good food, give them snacks, take them out, they start feeling that you need something from them. And so what they start doing is that they start moving away from this whole experience. Even, when you go for a job, if you come across as needy, that you need the job, automatically someone else gets it. But if you go into an interview, if you go into a negotiation with the concept that the character that you're representing in this movie now can negotiate comfortably, can speak comfortably, can actually pass an interview well, now automatically you are not attached to the result, because for some reason, you go for the interview and this character does not perform well and does not get the job. It's the character that needs to be trained more to get a desired outcome. A failure is not a failure. It is a lesson for the next step that needs to happen for success. But as soon as we attach ourselves in that situation, like we believe that is your identity, it's over. Because you start feeling like a loser, that you're not achieving something. But if you are training this character to perform in your movie, it's a completely different shift in mindset. So once you have understood these concepts and the third person affirmations, now with affirmations, you have to attach confirmation. And the way to go about this is to see what is working during that particular day. So say for example, if one of the affirmations for this character is they can easily communicate, look for proof during the day of how this character, which is you in this case, has communicated effectively. Look and see what has worked for that day. Don't look for things where it's not working. Look for even a small aspect of communication that worked for that day, because you are affirming or confirming to your mind that this is happening. The character is being built. The character is actually trained. The character is becoming this 2.0 self. If you can look at affirmations and then train the mind to start looking for proof, which is confirmations, and we went through this in the last episode, where your mind needs proof that it is working for it to become a belief. The reticular activating system needs to start looking for proof for it to become the reality or the truth. So for example, when I got into recruitment, I had no idea of how to be a recruiter. I didn't know how to set up a recruitment business. It was everything. I was starting from scratch. But I looked and said, okay, as the character in the movie, what are the attributes or the characteristics of a good recruiter? They communicate very well. They ask the right questions. They have empathy. They understand what the person is wanting. They can match the skills well. They can find talent in places where others are just looking for job ads, So there are different characteristics of a good recruiter. And that's exactly what I had to train myself. If from the outside, as the director, this character, Zurika 2.0, had to be trained to have the characteristics of a recruiter. And remember something, you don't have to have only one character in your movie. You can have multiple characters, and that's the whole concept of the transurfing, right? You can have different realities happening at the same time, and you can pick and choose the reality that you want. That's the whole concept. And if you'd like, I can actually do a full episode of how to do third person affirmations and confirmations, but I think this video is getting a bit too long, so I don't want to take away from the main key aspects that need to happen for you to have that shift in mindset. So let's summarize what we covered in this episode. Firstly, the universe is constantly evolving. It can never be stagnant. So if we are in a place of complacency, if we are in a place of comfort, if we are in the place of just, life is going the way it is going, probably we need to start looking at how we can evolve to the next stage of our life. Because if we stay stagnated, the world will pass us by. And to do that, instead of being the identity, instead of identifying yourself as you are this person, start looking at yourself as the director of the movie called life, and have different characters that you need to train for your movie of life to be a certain way. And to do that, you look at the character as from the outside rather than being the character. And to be able to train the character, we then go to affirmations, which is in third person, and confirmation, where every day we look to confirm or prove that this is actually working. I hope this has been useful. I know it is a little bit weird, but if you can make that shift and look at yourself as a character in the movie, and you being the director or the creator of the movie, things will completely change for you. I wish you peace. I wish you success. I wish you abundance of whatever you decide that you want in life. Thank you so much for being my virtual friend, and I hope I can be your virtual friend. If you like what I have been sharing, then please do visit our YouTube channel, which is Living an Amazing Life, or our website, which is livinganaamazinglife.com, and do put a comment in the YouTube channel, whatever, positive, negative, it doesn't matter, because it helps me to also improve, and it also helps the community to be able to gain access to something more powerful. With that, I'd like to say bye for now, all the way from New Zealand. Namaste.